Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to dig into your source material, break it down, and hopefully make sense of it all. Today, we're looking at something pretty common. A fungus called Candida, lives in most of us apparently. But the sources we've got suggest that when it overgrows, well, the effects can be really quite catastrophic long term.
That's right. Our mission today is to piece together what these documents say about, the huge range of symptoms this can cause, and importantly, how it seems to fundamentally change diet, even behavior. And then we'll lay out the specific three-part strategy the sources say is needed to actually get rid of it.
Okay, so the main idea for you listening is this. Candida overgrowth isn't just like a typical infection. It's fundamentally about a major imbalance, a disruption of your normal gut bacteria. Think of it like a turf war in your gut. And if you're getting symptoms, well, the fungus is winning that war. All right, let's dig into what actually feeds this stuff. What helps Candida thrive? The research pretty consistently points to some, maybe obvious things. High-carb diets, lots of sugar.
Definitely. Sugar and refined carbs are major fuel sources. Excessive alcohol, too. And then there's anything that weakens the immune system.
Right. Like what specifically?
Well, the sources cover a few areas. Existing autoimmune conditions, for one. Chronic stress is a big one. Also, long-term use of medications that suppress the immune system. Even things like oral contraceptives, used over long periods.
Okay, so these are situations where your body's defenses are already a bit lowered.
Exactly. It creates an opening. The good bacteria get weakened, and Candida sees its chance to expand its territory.
But digging through the material, was there one cause that stood out as maybe surprising or counterintuitive for people trying to eat healthy?
Yeah, there was actually. Fermented foods.
Fermented foods like kefir, sauerkraut, but those are supposed to be good for you, right? Probiotics.
That's the conventional wisdom, absolutely.
Yeah.
And usually, they are good. But the sources warn that if you already have a significant Candida overgrowth, then adding these fermented foods, which often contain yeasts themselves or sugars they feed on, can actually stimulate the existing fungus.
Wow, okay. So you think you're helping, but you might be making it worse.
Potentially, yes. If the balance is already tipped way in Candida's favor, the idea is the good bacteria should compete. But if they're already outnumbered, giving more fuel, even healthy fuel like fermented foods, just helps the dominant fungus grow stronger. It's about timing and the existing balance.
So hold off on the kimchi if you suspect Candida.
According to these sources, yes, at least until the overgrowth is under control.
Okay, let's shift to how this fungus actually becomes, well, dangerous, how it goes from just living there to causing system-wide problems. It seems when Candida feels threatened, maybe your immune system is fighting back, or you start treatment, it changes, it adapts.
Changes how? Like it evolved?
It physically changes its shape. It goes from a sort of round, relatively harmless yeast form to a more elongated thread-like structure. This is called the hyphal form.
Hyphal form. Okay, and why does it do that? Well, this elongated shape is much better at invading tissue. It's specifically good at causing intestinal permeability.
Ah, leaky gut. We hear that term a lot.
Exactly. Leaky gut. These hyphae act almost like little drills or hooks. They can penetrate the lining of your intestines.
Okay, that sounds bad. So they break through the barrier.
Precisely. That barrier is crucial. Once it's breached, the gut wall isn't secure anymore. And then stuff that should stay in the gut, the Candida itself, toxins it produces, undigested food bits, even viruses can get through into the bloodstream.
Right, and the bloodstream goes everywhere, so this isn't just a gut problem anymore.
Not at all. Now you've got foreign materials circulating throughout your body.
Which must put the immune system on constant high alert, like it's always fighting something.
You got it.
Yeah.
That's the key problem highlighted in the sources. Constant immune activation. Your immune system sees these invaders in the blood and attacks. This leads to chronic, low-grade inflammation all over the body. And eventually, immune exhaustion.
Like it just gets worn out.
Kind of, yeah. And the sources suggest this constant battle, this exhaustion, is a major factor in developing autoimmune diseases. The immune system gets so stressed and confused, it starts making mistakes. It can lose the ability to tell the difference between foreign invaders and your own body's tissues.
So it starts attacking self.
That's the theory presented. It misidentifies your own healthy cells as threats. And that's the basis of autoimmunity.
Okay, so if Candida can get into the blood and travel anywhere, that explains why the list of potential symptoms in these documents is so incredibly long and varied. And we should definitely remind everyone listening, these symptoms can have many different causes. Candida isn't the only cause.
Absolutely crucial point. But if you have a cluster of these things happening together, It might be a clue. The classic ones are there, like fungal infections, nails, feet, vaginal yeast infections too. But also things like just feeling exhausted all the time, chronic fatigue, brain fog, poor concentration, irritability.
Digestive issues too, I assume.
Oh, yeah. Bloating, gas, constipation, sometimes diarrhea, worsening seasonal allergies even. And a couple of really specific ones mentioned are anal itching and kind of oddly persistent ear itching.
Ear itching. Okay, that is specific. But let's talk about the symptom the sources seem, well, most fascinated by. The idea that this fungus can actually change your behavior.
Right. It sounds like science fiction, but it's a core point in the research we reviewed.
Yeah.
Behavior modification.
How does that work? Is it directly controlling thoughts? That seems unlikely.
It's more subtle, but maybe just as powerful. The fungus needs fuel to survive, right? And its preferred fuel is sugar, refined carbohydrates.
Okay.
So to make sure it gets a steady supply, it seems to release chemicals that influence the host it's you. These chemicals apparently create an incredibly strong, almost irrefutable desire for sweets and carbs.
So those intense sugar cravings you can't shake might not actually be your cravings.
That's the implication. You feel it as your own desire, your own hunger pang, or just needing a treat. But according to this research, it could be the Candida essentially sending signals, demanding its next meal so it can keep growing.
Wow. That really reframes things. If you feel like your willpower around sugar is non-existent, maybe there's a microbe pulling the strings?
It's a compelling idea, definitely.
Okay, so the sugar cravings alone could lead to weight gain. But it gets deeper, right? The sources talked about toxins. A lot of toxins.
Yes, 79, the documents state Candida continuously releases 79 different types of toxins directly into your bloodstream.
79. That sounds like a constant chemical assault.
It really is. And it explains something called the die-off reaction or Herxheimer reaction. When you start killing the Candida, they release all their stored toxins at once, and people can feel quite ill for a bit, like a bad flu.
Because the body suddenly has to deal with this massive toxic load.
Exactly. Your main detox organ is the liver, and it just gets completely overwhelmed by this constant stream, let alone a sudden surge.
So what happens when the liver can't keep up? Where do those toxins go?
The body has to park them somewhere relatively safe, away from vital organs. And often, that place is your fat cells.
So fat tissue becomes like a storage depot for these fungal toxins.
Seems like it. It acts as a buffer. The sources specifically call out two major toxins. Ethanol.
Like alcohol.
Yes. Candida produces alcohol as a byproduct. And also acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is actually the same chemical that makes you feel hungover after drinking too much alcohol.
So Candida could be making you feel slightly hungover all the time.
Potentially, yeah. And these specific toxins, ethanol and acetaldehyde, are highlighted because they directly mess with your nerve function and, critically, your liver metabolism.
And if liver metabolism is disrupted, that affects how your body handles sugar, right? Blood sugar regulation.
Precisely. It throws the whole system off balance. And the long-term consequence pointed out on the research is pretty serious. Chronic Candida overgrowth is linked to reduced thyroid function.
Hypothyroidism.
Yes, leading to a slower metabolism, difficulty losing weight, feeling cold, low energy, all those classic hypothyroid symptoms. So there's a direct line drawn from the fungus to its toxins, to metabolic disruption, and ultimately to weight gain via thyroid issues.
Okay, this all sounds quite impactful. So if someone suspects this might be happening, how do they actually confirm it? Let's talk diagnosis. Blood tests seem like the obvious starting point.
They are common, yes. You can test for antibodies. IgM antibodies usually suggest a current active infection, whereas IgG antibodies are more like memory cells, indicating you've encountered it in the past, or maybe have an ongoing chronic issue.
But there was a really important warning in the sources about blood tests, wasn't there?
Yes, a critical one, false negatives. If the Candida has been causing problems for a long time and your immune system is really run down, remember that immune exhaustion we talked about? Your overall levels of immunoglobulins might be low. The test might come back negative, not because the Candida isn't there, but because your immune system isn't mounting a strong enough response to be detected.
So a negative blood test isn't always conclusive proof you're clear.
Exactly. You might also look at general blood work. Sometimes a low total white blood cell count is seen, but with high neutrophils and low lymphocytes specifically. Little clues. But based on the sources we reviewed, the most reliable test.
What did they favor?
A stool test. A comprehensive fecal analysis.
Why is that better?
It seems to have fewer false negatives.
Yeah.
It's directly looking for the organism in the gut environment. Plus, a good stool test can often identify the specific strain of Candida you have, which can be really helpful for tailoring the treatment.
Okay, stool test is preferred. Any other options mentioned?
Yes, a urine test is also available. It looks for a specific waste product of Candida called D-arabinitol. If levels are high, it suggests overgrowth.
Right. And what about that slightly weird home test, the spit test?
Ah, yes, the spit in a glass of water test. It's mentioned, but with a big caveat about low sensitivity, so not very reliable.
How does it work, just for curiosity?
First thing in the morning, before you drink or eat anything, you spit into a clear glass of room temperature water. Healthy saliva tends to just float or dissolve. If you have a lot of Candida in your mouth or throat, the theory is the saliva might sink or grow little stringy legs that trail down into the water.
Interesting, but not definitive.
Not at all. More of a maybe interesting indicator if you get a positive result, but a negative result doesn't mean much. Stool testing is far more reliable according to these docs.
All right, so let's assume Candida overgrowth is confirmed or highly suspected. Given how disruptive it can be, getting rid of it properly is key. The sources laid out a very specific three-part strategy, and the sequence seems crucial.
Absolutely. You have to do it in order, otherwise it likely won't work, or the Candida will just come right back.
Okay, part one.
Part one, the dietary base. This is non-negotiable, the absolute foundation. You have to starve the fungus first. This means immediately adopting a very strict low glycemic index diet, cutting out sugars, refined carbs.
How strict are we talking?
Very strict, at least initially. The sources even recommend cutting out all fruit for a period during the main elimination phase.
Wow, even fruit. Because of the sugar.
Exactly.
Hmm.
The goal is maximum starvation of the fungus. If you skip this diet step or cheat on it, the antifungals in the next step won't be nearly as effective. The Candida will just keep regrowing because it has fuel.
Okay, so diet first. Starve it out. Then what's part two?
Part two, elimination. This is where the antifungals come in. But it's not just about killing the fungus. The sources highlight supplements like caprylic acid and enzymes like cellulase and protease.
Why those specifically?
Because Candida protects itself with something called a biofilm. Think of it like a slimy protective shield it builds around itself.
These supplements, especially the enzymes, help break down that biofilm. You need to dismantle its defenses before the actual killing agents can work effectively.
Makes sense. Break down the fortress walls first. Are there natural antifungals mentioned too?
Oh yes, several powerful ones. Thyme, garlic, oregano oil, and black cumin seed oil gets a special mention. Apparently, its use as an antifungal goes way back, even found in Tutankhamun's tomb. So, ancient wisdom there.
Okay, so starve it with diet, break down its defenses, then hit it with antifungals. What's the final step, part three?
Part 3, repopulation. This is about bringing in the good guys' probiotics. But here, the strategy is a bit different from usual probiotic advice.
How so? Usually we hear about diversity getting lots of different strains.
Right, but in this specific situation, post-Candida elimination, the sources emphasize quantity over diversity. Think about it. You've just cleared out a lot of microbial real estate in the gut. It's empty territory.
Yeah.
The priority now is to fill that space fast with beneficial bacteria before any remaining Candida can regrow and reclaim it. So the recommendation is to use probiotics with extremely high CFU, counts billions and billions of bacteria, even if it's fewer strains. Flood the zone quickly.
So overwhelm the space with good guys immediately. Quantity trumps variety in this specific recovery phase.
That's the strategy outlined, yes. Get the beneficial bacteria established rapidly to hold the territory. Hashtag tag outro.
Well, this has been quite the deep dive. We've really seen Candida framed differently, not just a minor issue, but a potential systemic disruptor, releasing, 79 different toxins?
79, yeah. And capable of modifying your behavior, driving those sugar cravings. Pretty wild stuff.
And that treatment strategy.
Yeah?
Sequential, diet first, then biofilm disruption, and finally, that specific high-quantity probiotic approach.
Right, flipping the usual probiotic logic on its head for that specific repopulation phase.
So the big takeaway for you listening, what's the final thought here?
Well, consider this. If chronic inflammation and immune system burnout, potentially triggered by leaky gut from things like Candida, if that's linked to the roots of many autoimmune diseases, then how many serious long-term health problems might you potentially sidestep just by focusing on healing that gut barrier, by sealing that gateway?
That's a powerful thought. Addressing this isn't just about feeling better now, but maybe preventing major issues down the road.
Exactly. It
Right.
really underscores how deeply connected your gut health is to your entire body's health, your systemic health. It's
Wow.
definitely worth exploring further, understanding that gut-body connection.